concern, while United are in decent form, a bit of concern, especially after knocking out Aston Villa in midweek as well. Their away form haven't been the best, and particularly trips to London haven't actually been fruitful. And we do see trends like that. Is there some kind of truth behind those trends you see?
I mean, I don't think it's a London thing. Obviously, when you look at the stats, it'll tell you that United have only won once in their last 5 fixtures away from home against London teams. And I think that victory against Brentford, in fact, came in January earlier this year. So that's way, way back. I don't think so much it's about London, it's about the city. I think it's more about United's away form in general.
Why do you think that is? Why do they struggle when they play away from home?
To be fair, they've also struggled at home as well. I think it's a period of transition under Erik ten Hag. They're still trying to find their footing. United have been one of the most unpredictable teams in the Premier League this year. It's very difficult to gauge which version of United you're going to get each match week, only because the team is still a work in progress. And you can see, you look at their last 5 games in all competitions away from home, they lost to Villa, but they drew against Chelsea. They beat Everton. They got absolutely smashed by Manchester City, but scored 3 goals away from home. And then they beat Leicester City. It's a set of really, a set of results that really don't tally against each other in terms of consistency.
It's really hard to tell what, up until now, despite their improvement in forms, despite how much better they look under Erik ten Hag, it's still hard to predict which Manchester United side will turn up. Will it be the one against Aston Villa in the Premier League last weekend, or will it be the one against Aston Villa in midweek in the League Cup? That's the thing, isn't it? When they take a trip to Craven Cottage as well, it's hard to see which United side will turn up, and it will be very important for Manchester United in particular to want to end as high as possible on the table before the long break, because I think this applies to every club in the Premier League as well. It is one entire month of having to sit with whatever it is, whatever position it is that you have to sit, isn't it? That's going to be psychologically very important.
Exactly. I think it's got a lot to do with the dynamics up front. Earlier in other episodes of this show, I've spoken about the fact that I'm not really the biggest fan of Ronaldo starting up front. I think he hinders Man United to a large extent. We saw it in the game against Villa in the Premier League last weekend. But in midweek, when United played Villa again in the EFL Cup, you saw it Martial, Rashford up front. There was a lot more fluidity, and you saw United's ability to get goals in the second half. I think a lot of United's chances to beat Fulham this week hinges on who starts up front. They've got a couple of injury concerns, but with the players that they already have, Garnacho, Martial, Rashford, if they can retain a similar lineup that played against Villa, I think that will put United in a much better position to be able to get a victory against Fulham.
The Red Devils will look set to bounce back from last week's defeat at Villa Park as they take on Fulham at Craven Cottage. Nottingham Forest, still struggling for form, will welcome Patrick Vieira's Palace. And lastly, a rejuvenated Newcastle was set to end on a high before the World Cup break as they host Chelsea at St James's Park. Stats, predictions and more only on the Big Kickoff.